This is my honest opinion and should not be taken as fact. Silent Hill F is an absolute masterpiece, visually stunning, captivating as a whole, but not as a Silent Hill entry. We can all stop pretending that this fits into the Silent Hill universe now, because it just does not. The story isn't psychologically stimulating at all. A key element Silent Hill has always managed to get right for so many years was totally missed in this entry. You don't spend any time deciphering cryptic messages, cutscenes and character behaviors. You just spend the entire of your first playthrough repeatedly asking yourself, what the fuck is going on? Then you reach the final cutscene and are literally sat there thinking, what a crock of shit. Not one element of that game made sense. It's only when you start to bash through New Game Plus do you even start to understand the storyline, and even then it's nothing more than a boring woke storyline about a girl who can't decide whether she should get married into some seemingly arranged marriage or not, blended in with some misogynistic views on women, and Japanese folklore about yokais and kitsune foxes. I had no emotional connection to any of the characters before my character inevitably kills them off. The only character who seemed to have any depth was Shu, and even at that, he was dead before I could even become emotionally invested in the character. My actions throughout the game did not have any impact on the outcome of the story, or at any point throughout the game. The story never deviated from the one-track path, only in the example of some old sword, which did nothing to enhance the actual storyline. My character didn't go on a psychological journey to better understand themselves or enhance the course of events. She simply followed some old photos and picked up an old sword, providing me with a new ending. In Silent Hill 2, there were times where your actions would have consequence and formed a new path throughout the game. Viewing the photo of your wife, interacting or not interacting with Maria, choosing which apple to pick, all built into the storyline and shaped the course of events to come. A huge element that Silent Hill F seemed to miss this time round. The entire plotline can be summed up in one sentence: snog, marry, avoid. Personally, I'd snog Kotayuki, marry Shu, and avoid the fuck out of that Rinko bitch, the jealous little cow. And are we completely ignoring the age difference between Hinako and Kotayuki? He's a fucking pedophile and no one's batting an eyelid. Hinako blindly follows Kotayuki without any questions asked while he convinces her to slice off her own arm, brands her with a blazing hot insignia and casually removes her face. This is supposed to feed into the psychological storyline of taking her hand in marriage, and blindly following her husband, but for me added nothing but a layer of stupidity to the character and storyline. If a man approaches you in life and asks you to cut off your own arm, get branded by a red-hot poker and slice your own face off, you can bet your ass you're going to tell him to fuck right off, aren't you? But the player just follows like it's normal. Utterly fucking stupid. Even clueless James Sunderland questioned his choices throughout Silent Hill, which brings me back to the fact my actions have no consequence. Unlike Silent Hill 2 with Mary and Maria, this would have been the perfect opportunity for splitting the path, whereas I make various alterations to my gameplay, the outcome of those decisions plays out in the storyline. What if on New Game Plus I start having flashbacks revealing the horrible things to come, and start deviating from that path in order to unlock the alternate endings? What if the brooch from Kotayuki was a viewable item, much like the photo of Mary, that I could interact with at numerous intervals throughout the story, perhaps initiating flashbacks or new cutscenes and altering the course of events to come? What if a hidden activity at Sakiko's family shrine could somehow alter the fight with Sakiko? What if I was able to recover my sanity enough through multiple playthroughs that I could stop the ritual altogether, forcing me into a new ending with a final fight against an enraged Kotayuki? There was just so many missed opportunities, that a brooch cutscene and a sacred sword with no impactful meaning was simply not good enough for me. The puzzles in this game were absolutely embarrassing, some of which were harder to solve on easy mode than they were on harder difficulties. Sometimes the clues didn't even seem to offer any insight into what the solution is and left you more confused than it did without the clue. Very poor puzzle system if you ask me. All in all, the combat system is the worst possible combat system I've seen in years, and adding heavy and light attacks to make what is already a basic battle system seem more fleshed out is completely false. It's clunky and uncomfortable, there's no two ways about it, and while I appreciate that the enemy's attack range was quite high, meaning mechanically the dodge function had to be quite dramatic, it does feel out of place to be dodging such large distances like a trained ninja, when my character can't even vault a small fence without falling to her knees. Then you throw the fox arm into the mix and you're suddenly Wolverine. Totally out of place, and utterly ridiculous. While it may pose a fun addition to the game's mechanics, thematically speaking, this pushes the title even further away from the source material, and verges on utter stupidity. This immediately changes the genre from a dystopian scenario, and drops you into some weird fantasy werewolf shit that I personally didn't enjoy. Cut a limb off by all means, We love a good gory moment, but don't reattach a werewolf arm to me. That isn't what I expect from Silent Hill. New Game Plus was also poorly calculated in my opinion, and essentially just breaks the game. Anything that was once a challenge in your first playthrough is now a case of remembering the answer or mauling your enemies to death with early access to the fox arm. A bit more randomization wouldn't have gone amiss, even if just in enemy placement. That's not to say I didn't enjoy what I played. I probably sank 100 hours into Silent Hill F, with a platinum trophy to prove it. But as an entry into the Silent Hill universe, I feel this game missed quite a lot of the key elements that make Silent Hill such a fantastic franchise. It's simply not enough to just cover a map in white fog and call it Silent Hill. The psychology and mental fuckery is an absolute essential part of what makes these games so great. Reading between the lines, deciphering the cryptic meanings, the symbolism, the dark depths of the often twisted human mind are the very backbone of Silent Hill, something this game seemed to miss quite heavily in my opinion. In conclusion, I did thoroughly enjoy this game. It's visually very appealing, and holds up very well by today's standard of gaming, but for me, this was a new game that was paired with the Silent Hill IP to sell more copies. This game could have easily performed just as well on its own standalone IP, but was paired with the title Silent Hill to pull in an already existing and passionate fanbase and sell more copies. Again, I would like to remind you that this is my personal opinion, and should not be taken as fact, and while I may have not spoken too highly of this game, I would encourage you to play it for yourself and form your own opinions. But for me, that's all I have to say, and until next time, much love, and stay gaming.